Yeah, I don't think it's just it's Clare. It's almost an East v West scenario, and it points to a significant, I guess, disparity between investment and collaboration, indeed, as well, between third level institutions and I suppose clinical facilities, hospitals, etc., on the East Coast, and we certainly don't seem to have the same collaboration between hospitals and third level in the West. Why I mentioned that is the I suppose the connection between the two is from research to implementation of trial, and any of the research that I've been involved with over the years, for the most part, it involves third level institutions in Dublin. I've had very little involvement with, we'll say, for the like, say, University of or in Galway or in Cork for that matter, very, very little over those based. And that's it's worrying because out of every clinical trial comes, or out of every research project comes a clinical trial. And that trial, those trials, not just they prolong, they help save lives, but they assist the patients, they assist those of us that are living with cancer. And if it's for a lot of people, the elderly or the infirm, traveling is an issue. Traveling long distances is especially an issue. And you got to think that some people would rather forego potentially participating in a trial rather than going through the issues that arise in relation to, for example, long-term accommodation, or indeed getting to Dublin, never mind coming back. We're looking here at patients that some would be extremely ill, some are not, but at the same time, all are patients. And the last thing you would, I suppose, at that stage of your life when you're dealing with something like that, the last thing you want to be doing is traveling long distances or overnighting, etc. And there should be more of an emphasis on collaboration, I think, across the island of Ireland. And that's north and south. And I have worked before with the All Ireland Cancer Research Institute, and it's doing a lot of good work. But I think for the most part, a lot of that is not being felt as of yet by patients on the ground. Just in advance of this, I just had a cursory look at Cancer Trials Ireland in relation to trials available and open for someone like myself with prostate cancer. And Vincent's Tala are mentioned several times in several trials. Bon Secours in Cork, another mention. But certainly, I don't know how up to date that information was on the website. It appeared relatively up to date, but not much mention of anything ongoing in the Midwest. And for me personally, that's something I'm looking into at the moment. Trials will be an issue over the coming months, potentially coming months, several months or more. And if I have to travel, I will. Obviously, I prefer not to, but needs must. But that's not as easy for a lot of other people, and I'm very conscious of that fact. The third levels, pharma, public and private, all need to collaborate, work together. An illness doesn't care one way or the other, whether you have private healthcare, public healthcare, whatever. The diagnosis, if there's something out there that can help you, that can prolong your life in terms of clinical trial, well, all people should have access to it. And that's something that I have come across over the years, and it's terrible where you can access some trials if you have access to a private facility. And I think that's I think it's, quite frankly, it's shocking. I'm not blaming anybody, but I don't think that anybody or any illness should, the size of your pocket, the size of your wallet should not define how your illness is treated. If there's something out there that can help you in some way, shape or form, you should have access to it.
Yeah. And sorry, John, it's just peculiar a point that you mentioned earlier. Obviously, you have a near cancer treatment centre of excellence in UHL. You have a highly specialised and wraparound services available to you in oncology. and with the University of Limerick on your doorstep, it does seem very bizarre that we don't see more funding for cancer trials going into UHL.
Yeah, there's a lot more discussion and collaboration between UHL and UL, certainly that I'm aware of over the last 12 months. Something like this takes years and years and years and years of investment and collaboration to bring it to a point where, for example, in UCD have a phenomenal research facility. They work in close collaboration with the adjacent hospitals in the Dublin area, but that takes many, many, many years of development and collaboration and investment. So we're not at that point in the Midwest. I know that a lot of discussion has taken place and is actually taking place between UHL and UL. But on saying that, that'll take years. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. So in the interim, I think what's needed is visibility in the region as to what is available, where it's available, and efforts made to, I guess, to ensure, I suppose, easier access for those that need it to trials. Anytime I go into UHL, I pass by the Clinical Trials Ireland. It's literally a porta cabin or part of a porta cabin in UHL, and I never see much visibility of. I've walked by it, but it's just not the most inviting place to go in. It's a room. I don't see many people there much of the time. So I think there's more interaction needed between the service users and the system itself, and vice versa, and not just seeking patients to participate in trials every now and again, but as to what's available around the country at this point in time. Just because it's somewhere else, it shouldn't be an inhibitor or a prohibitor. If there's an issue with somebody getting to Dublin, we should be helping that person get to Dublin. If there's an issue with accommodation elsewhere, we should be helping that person with accommodation too. And it goes back to it's mortality. It's the potential of extending someone's life, or indeed, in many cases, people enter with a successful treatment or successful trial, enter remission, and continue or go on to live quite long, happy, healthy lives. And there's nothing that should get in the way. We've made advancements in medical oncology, significant advancements, even in terms of prostate cancer that I'm living with. There's been massive improvements in modems of treatment over the last several years that I've seen for myself. That years ago I had to go every day to receive treatment up in Galway. That very same treatment now, that used to take about 38 days, now takes about 5 to 7 days. That's replicated right across many, many different types of cancer treatment, and that is a significant saving ultimately to the state. It's a significant saving to the person involved that's receiving the treatment. And what we need I won't say the Midwest, because we're talking about the West, whether that be Northwest, Southwest, or Midwest, collectively more collaboration between private enterprise, between your pharmaceuticals, between Department of Health, between our hospitals, to ensure that every effort is made, not only to advance technology, to advance treatment options, but also to ensure that everyone has access to them.